Hello and welcome to another edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm Kurt and I am your host this morning. Today is Sunday, the 15th of November 2020, and I wanted to talk about a blog post that I did. The subject of that blog post is the ladder. And I wanted to just say that the idea of climbing the ladder is something that is kind of nebulous, right? There are any number of things that can be considered the ladder. There's success, there's fame, there's fortune, there's power, right? There are all of these things. Well, today we're going to focus on the idea of climbing the ladder with regard to wealth. And I think that's the thing that actually most people mean when they say that. I'm not saying it always is. Sometimes it's knowledge, it could be any number of things. But the point is, I think for lots of people, wealth is a pretty important thing for that, right? So that's what I'm going to talk about this morning. Now, the thing about wealth is this. You have to have some measure in order to talk about wealth. So you have to have currency like notes and coins or sometimes things that are currency that are just things that are valuable. So in barter systems, it might be cows, houses, rutabagas, whatever, camels, whatever it happens to be, wherever you happen to be, right? So wealth is not necessarily measured by what would be considered money or currency, but that's one of the things that it can be. It has to be something, though, that people can recognize as prosperity, right? That's what has to happen there. And of course, you start to talk about the idea of wealth when you start looking at that scale, and different people have different ideas. I hear people saying, oh, $250,000 a year is wealth. Well, you know what? If you live in California, certain parts of California, that's not wealth. Here in Arkansas, here where I live, $250,000 is a tidy little sum to be making every year. But if you're in California, you might have a house that costs so much that on $250,000 a year of income, you're having a hard time making your house payments and still doing well surviving. So that standard may change from time to time and from place to place, right? And it certainly will change from time to time, and almost certainly will change from place to place as well. But the thing is, as well as that, you kind of got to have a way to get from point A to point B, from your place of poverty or relative poverty to your place of wealth, right? And in a good society, there's a path or more than one path that you can use to get to that place. In my mind, that path involves certain attributes from the person who's trying to attain wealth. Okay, first of all, they've got to be a person who's willing to work hard. Second of all, you want somebody who's going to typically be moral, ethical, and legal in the ways that they do things. It's not always possible to do that, but it's certainly something that you're going to try to do, right? You have to have the intelligence to get there. You have to be smart enough to figure out how to get from point A to point B. And the thing about that is that doesn't necessarily mean genius, just sufficient intelligence to get you from place to place. That's all. You have to have tenacity. You have to be willing to hang on, to do what needs to be done, and you have to be able to deal with obstacles and roadblocks. It's going to happen, and let me just tell you right off, life is not easy lots of times. You have to figure out how to do things that are hard and also that are going to take you a little bit of time while you're at it. And so you got to be willing to tough it out. You've just got to be willing to do that. There are going to be a bunch of bottlenecks to climbing the ladder, right? For example, there are people who are going to tell you you're just not going to be able to do that. No, you won't be able to ever do that. I have a black friend who told me sometime in the past that his family told him he shouldn't even try to gain success, wealth, power, etc. And he decided he was going to do it anyway. He thought, what do I have to lose, basically? So he went ahead and he started to do that process anyway, and he's doing quite well for himself. I don't know that he's, highly wealthy or anything like that, but he's doing well for himself, right? So apparently they were at least somewhat mistaken on what they thought. But here's the big thing I think that a lot of times gets in people's way is that people decide that gain is immoral. They tell you shouldn't even try. They tell you should be happy with what amounts to a meager existence. But here's the thing. Even with a meager existence, you have to achieve something to get there. You still have to hit some point on the scale. Okay? They're going to argue, these people who tell you that you're gaining immorally, that you have too much. And they're going to, a lot of them try to get, and they're going to actually obtain the power to take things from you, right? And that's an unfortunate thing, because where leveling mechanisms seem like a good idea, and don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about ways that you can help other people when you are wealthy, but I'm talking about people trying to redistribute wealth, to take what you have, what you've gotten, and give it to others. It's actually a bad idea. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, why isn't that a good idea? And the answer is because people who have the attributes to succeed will lose incentive if you to continue to get what they're getting and do what they're doing, if you take away that the result, the reward for the work done. And the thing you may not understand here is, as desirable as this idea of leveling out success sounds, you're not considering the potential collateral damage. When a person gets to the point where they're working so hard to keep up what they're doing, they'll decide, typically at some point, I need somebody else to help me to meet my standards, right? I need somebody else to help me do that. And when they do that, they'll hire people on, and they'll lots of times make it really pretty much worth their while to be there. So that's a good thing, and that gets lost if that person loses their incentive. If a person, quote, has too much, the idea of holding that is a dumb idea. If it's perishable, it's going to rot or otherwise spoil. If it's not perishable, it's just going to collect dust. So why would you do it? Well, that's not really a bad question. So the answer is this. If a person collects things that they don't need, they're also probably going to process them. Raw materials, great thing. But you know what? If you don't actually process raw materials into something that's useful, nobody's going to be able to use them. And that means that if a person takes the time to gather a bunch of stuff and to process it or develop it, then he can actually use that thing, him or herself, or that person can make things that are useful to others in the process. And this is all very important stuff, right? If you don't have people who are doing that, people out there who are not skilled at doing the things that they're doing to get what they've gotten to be where they are, will suffer, not necessarily horribly, but will suffer as a result. And the thing is, those people who have gotten successful, who have gotten wealthy, will also sort of suffer, right? Because the fact that they're good at one thing or a set of things doesn't mean that they're good at everything. If a person can farm rutabagas, that doesn't mean that that same person can herd cattle. That doesn't mean that that same person can build houses. Well, herding cattle matters because they want meat. They want beef or whatever, right? So that matters to them. The fact that they can't build houses means that they don't readily or immediately have places to live either, right? So that somebody's got to do that. And the way they can make that happen is by having other people do the building and so forth, and making it so that they pay those other people in some way for their work. And this is why currency is a good thing. But this is why it doesn't make sense to level the playing field. Another part of that whole thing is that when people are successful, they're successful because they're good at what they do, and expecting other people to be good at that and to just be able to take over and do what it is that they're doing is pretty much silliness, quite frankly. So here's the point, right? The point is you have to have a ladder to climb one, right? If you make it hard to climb a ladder, you're going to make it so people aren't really going to try to climb the ladder. If you make it so people don't try to climb the ladder, you're going to cause various kinds of collateral damage if you make those kinds of hindrances happen, right? So it's not just going to affect the person who would have gotten wealthy by climbing the ladder. It's going to affect everybody, okay? Or at least a lot of people. And you could say that it's going to be a butterfly effect thing where it affects almost everybody. And you can disagree with what I'm saying if you want to, but if you can't give me reasons to change my mind, I'm here to tell you you're probably fighting a losing battle where that's concerned. Okay, I am getting ready to wrap it up. So remember, climbing the ladder is a good thing. Hindering climbing the ladder, not so great. Hope you're having a great day. Today is Sunday. Today is the beginning of the week as far as I'm concerned, and I think there are a lot of people out there who will agree with me on that. Some people will say Monday. Monday to me is the beginning of a work week, but Sunday is the beginning of the week in my mind. In any case, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you have a great week, and I hope things go well for you. I'm going to try and get myself doing a video tomorrow on Monday, the 16th of November of 2020. Tomorrow's a work day for me in my, quote, regular job, so we'll see how that all works out, but I think I should be able to do it. Meantime, I hope, like I say, you have a great week. I hope things are going well for you and continue to do so, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video is recorded on Sunday, November 15th of 2020. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for checking out this video. Remember that you can like it on YouTube and you can give it a rumble on Rumble if you want to do that. I have channels on both YouTube and Rumble. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels. You can subscribe to either one of those if you want to do so. Remember, if you subscribe on YouTube, you probably want to click the notification bell in order to be notified of new content. If you want to see more from me, you can check me out on my blog. That's blogs.kpschubert.com, blogs.kpschubert.com. You can also see my Facebook page. That is Kurt's Religion and Politics on Facebook. You can check out my Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com accounts. My handle on all three of those is at kpschubert. That's at kpschubert. You can check out my podcast. The podcast is at podcasts.kpschubert.com. That's podcast.kpschubert.com. And finally, you can check me out on Patreon. And if you want to support me, that's probably one of the better places that you can do that. I am Kurt's Religion and Politics there. Thanks again for checking out this video, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.